hey, would you do my wedding? And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't do that. I have a job. That's it, you know? And he was like, and I still remember this. He said, I'll pay you $2,000 if you do my wedding.
Wow.
And I was like, $2,000? Let's meet. And I was like, yeah, let's meet. Sure, let's meet.
Recording except for
Okay, welcome back to the #1 podcast in Houston. We are the Yacht Club. I go by the name of Ray. My co-host DeSanti is sitting right here, and today we're with the owner of Aventography. He goes by the name of Z, the Z-Man, 007, James Bond. He's been on top, in my opinion, from what I've seen, because I've actually known him for quite a while. It was a surprise to see each other today, though. I've probably known you for about 6 or 7 years, maybe, right? Give or
Probably,
take.
yeah.
Yeah, the first time I met him, and he was already running the scene then. So from where he went to the new studio we're in right now is amazing, because you said it was 3 times the size?
Correct.
3 times the size. It's amazing. Like, this has everything. You could think of, like, enough space for music videos, the biggest photo shoots ever, and then his hallways just look like Hollywood halls, you know? Like, all his work is all over the place. So it's really impressive. I was telling Z that we have a big audience base that really loves videography, photography, and media in general. So I wanted you to just kind of give us a base on how this all began, because now you're at a point of like major success. You've made it, I'd say.
Thank God.
And
Yeah.
so how did all this begin?
Well, believe it or not, it was a total coincidence. So photography was a hobby of mine growing up. And about 12, 13 years ago, I did my best friend's younger brother's wedding as a favor, as a second photographer. They had hired a professional guy, and a few months later, I gave them an album as a gift from my pictures.
Oh,
And unanimously, they all thought that my pictures were better than the photographer's. And I thought they were just saying that to me. Hey, your pictures are great. You're so much better than the other guys. And I was like, yeah, sure, thanks, you know?
yeah.
Just being nice, I thought. But a few months later, or maybe 3 or 4 months later, one of their friends was getting married, and he called me. Now, at this time, I used to be an accountant.
Okay,
That's what I did. That's what I went to school for.
sure.
And he called me, and he said, hey, would you do my wedding? And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't do that. I have a job. That's it, you know? And he
Yeah.
was like, and I still remember this. He said, I'll pay you $2,000 if you do my wedding. And I was like, $2,000? Let's meet. And I was like, yeah, let's meet. Sure, let's meet.
Yeah.
So we met at a Starbucks by the Galleria. I used to live in Clear Lake at the time, and he was out here in Sugar Land. And we met, and that's how it started.
Wow.
No contract, just a handshake, just
Yeah.
a few written words on paper, and that was it.
And how long ago was that?
This was 12 years ago.
So you got into that accidentally. So after that happened, what started? Because obviously you must have been like, okay,
Like there's something here.
There's
Yeah,
something here,
yeah.
yeah. So then, I mean, I did his wedding.
yeah.
A few months later, one of his other friends was getting married. He wanted the same exact deal, and I said, sure, I'll do it, you know? So then it became, from one wedding every 2 months, it became one wedding a month. And I was like, okay, cool, you know, extra income, why not?
Yeah.
I was still doing my other thing. And then they started asking me for video. So at that time, I referred all my video clients to another company that's
Sure.
still established here. Then over time, I realized I could do this myself.
Yes.
So then I hired a guy, Rice University grad, real nice guy, and we started doing photo, video. But then I realized that, hey, one photographer, one videographer is not enough, especially for a larger wedding. So then we started subcontracting, getting some more people, and then over time I just started hiring the people myself.
So from the 12-year mark back, how long did it take you to quit your job?
Oh, so in 2010, 2009 December, I said, you know what, I could really do this, because by that time I started doing, you know, a couple a month.
So you're about a year in now? A
Yeah,
little over a
year and a half in,
Okay.
and I was doing a couple a month, and I was like, you know, it's not bad. Why not?
Yeah.
You know. And so then at that point, I said, okay, let me just do this full time. I went to town center. I wanted to have a storefront,
Yes.
as opposed to being in the first few months, first couple of years, I was doing it from home where I lived, lived in a mid-rise, and they had a nice office down there. That's where I would meet. But I just felt I wasn't good
I
enough.
get you.
Yeah, and so then I said, okay, I'm gonna get a storefront somewhere nice. And at that time, Sugar Land Town Center was up and coming.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go there, negotiated a deal, took a risk, put all my eggs in one basket,
Yeah.
so to speak. And May 2010, I started it.
Yeah. You hit a home run with location though.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it did make a difference. Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, the foot traffic, people would always say, like they'd call me and they're like, so where are you located? And I'd be like, in Sugar Land Town Center. Oh, are you the one by the Marriott? Yes, that's me. Oh, yeah, we've seen you. We've seen you. Okay,
Yeah.
and they would come in, and I think that just gave them a confidence level of some sort. They felt like, okay, this person's established.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that made the difference, I think.
So I have a pretty interesting question because you're maybe the third or fourth person we've interviewed that's made the transition from corporate into a business.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your advice to people looking to follow their passion and get out of the corporate world? Like, when is it the right time to make the move? Because some people do it too early, or some people might do it too late and they miss the boat.
Right. I always say follow your dreams. I know it's a cliche or whatever, but I always say that, do what you like. As an accountant, I hated my life. I dreaded going into work. If I needed a vacation, I would always be like, hey, can I get a time off? I remember one day the Astros were playing or something, a playoff game, and I wanted to go, and it was in the afternoon on a weekday. I couldn't go, And I said, I wish I was my own boss. That way I could do my own thing. And so then I realized, okay, do your own thing, follow your passion, and always have a backup plan. If that doesn't work out, you never know what other doors may open, you know?
So what about like from a financial aspect or a safety net aspect? I always had the notion of you should have 6 months saved up in the bank account prior to quitting any stable job.
Right.
And that was just my opinion, though. A lot of people say 3 months. Some people don't even agree with me and just say jump off the cliff, right? So what's your take on that?
I kind of didn't have a 6-month plan. I kind of had a 1-month plan.
Ooh, okay, so you were the one that just jumped.
Yeah, I just said, you know what, I like this. I want to do it, But, I mean, because photography, it's not like an impulse buy, especially for wedding photography. They want to book you 6 months, a year in advance, It's not like, hey, are you available tomorrow?
Yeah.
Although I still get calls like that every now and then. Hey, can you do my wedding this weekend? And I'm like, seriously? But I kind of just jumped all in,
That's her. That's her personality.
Yeah. I mean, and you kind of have to just go with your gut,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you trust.
and honestly, in the beginning, I wasn't making as much as I was when I had a corporate job,
Right.
but I was much happier inside.
You were willing to
Yeah,
take the
and
cut.
I was happy,
Yes.
I was sleeping in when I wanted to sleep in. I was doing whatever I wanted to do, and I just felt happy inside, even though I was making less in the beginning. Then over time, I started, making a little bit
We
more.
actually just did a podcast like 4 days ago about her saying that taking a pay cut to be happier, and it's like so like, but it was the topic that she spoke about. What you just said
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
happiness.
Happiness is, and money doesn't buy you happiness,
Right.
but you have to be happy on the inside and doing what you like to do.
Yeah.
At least that's my take on things.
So what? Do you have anything before I keep
Yes.
going? Okay.
I want to know your marketing. Did you have any strategic way to go about it, or was it strictly word of mouth at first?
At first, all word of mouth. I had no advertising budget. I didn't do any advertising. My storefront was my advertising, because it was.
I mean, that is.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
We had thousands of people walking in front, especially at nighttime, and the way we did it was, even though we weren't supposed to, we had like a little monitor screen, TV screen in
I
front.
remember.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And we constantly run videos on a loop, and pictures all on the wall. And people were always like, I'd drive by there at night sometimes, or go to one of the restaurants next door. I would always see people outside eating ice cream, with families, just looking at pictures, just stuff like that. So really, I had no advertising or marketing plan. It was just word of mouth in the beginning. I didn't have the budget,
Yeah.
So yeah.
And even before the storefront? That started picking up.
Before the storefront, it was all word of mouth.
All word of mouth.
All word of
Wow.
mouth, and just seeing people at events and stuff, and especially at that time, there weren't that many people doing what I do, in the beginning, it was just maybe a handful, Now the story is completely flipped.
I know, I've
It's,
seen all
it's
the people.
every Tom,
Yeah.
Dick, and Harry has a.
Yeah.
There's a photographer. They have a camera. They have no knowledge of lighting or lenses or anything else, but they're photographers.
Yeah.
And plus, people also. And sorry, I'm drifting topics, but Instagram and the cell phones have really ruined it. Because people think, oh, I have a cell phone, I can take a picture.
Yes.
Not the same thing.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
So did you have to formally then teach yourself photography?
Absolutely, yeah.
You self-taught?
So I had a couple of friends in the beginning that did do this as a profession, and kind of brought them in. They helped me out. I learned from them a little bit, but most of it was self-taught. Just watching, not just them but others, and looking at YouTube videos and online and stuff like that, and that really helped me. And I would see, and even to this day, I'm always instilling in the guys that work with us that, hey, this is how we should do this. You have to change with the times.
Okay, so here's my next question. When you made the transition out from corporate into business, you said it's working for you, right? So money was initially the motivation, I'm assuming?
No,
Or was it the fact
No.
that you had the
I was
your
I was
own
miserable.
boss?
I was
Yeah.
my own boss.
Okay.
I had the freedom to do what I wanted
Yeah.
to do, and I think it's also you have to realize, I think, what kind of personality you yourself have.
Okay.
What works for you.
Yeah.
What works for you may not work for me, and vice
Right.
versa. But I felt like being creative was much. Accountants aren't creative.
Yeah.
You can't be creative.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to just record whatever is going on. If you get very creative, then you get in trouble as an accountant. But
Right.
but you just. For me, I wanted to be more creative. I wanted to be happier. I wanted to be my own boss.
Right.
And photography led me to all three.
So what's the most fulfilling part about doing what you're doing then, and did it ever transition into anything else?
Yeah, it became a job after a while. In the sense, thank God we were blessed. We do a lot of weddings, and sometimes, like this last 2 weeks that we did, I've been doing weddings day and night for the
Yeah.
past 15, 16, 21 days,
Wow.
Sunday night was today is what, Tuesday? Yeah, so I had a day off yesterday from shooting. I was here at the office, but it does take a toll on you. And 99% of customers are great.
Yeah.
They appreciate, they like you, they're happy, but there's always that one that kind of ruins it for everybody else. Like, oh, you didn't get a shot of the, this is a true story.
Yeah.
10 years ago, I think my first year, it was me and Ian, the video guy that I had hired from Rice. He and I were shooting a wedding. Now, in Indian weddings or Pakistani weddings, brides are usually late.
Yep.
Okay, there's always some excuse. The makeup didn't do this, or the makeup artist, or my hair, or wardrobe malfunction, and she was late for her pre-wedding shoot. So we decided to do her portraits during dinner time, when dinner was served. As soon as dinner was served, she said, we have got 15 minutes, let's do it right now. I said, okay. So we started taking pictures and video and stuff. Once the wedding was over, the dad complained, hey, everything was great, but you missed the most important part. And I was like, what did I miss? The ceremony? No. The pictures of her? You missed the shot of the chicken that we had that we cooked. And I was like, that was most important, or was it your daughter?
Your daughter.
Yeah. The bride. The bride's the most important. Obviously. And so then we learned from there that okay, you can't satisfy everyone. There's always that one person that's unhappy for something very minor. Of course mistakes do happen, but that was a learning lesson for us. That now whenever dinner is served, everyone's trained to immediately go get shots of dinner. And then come back and get the chicken shot.
The chicken shot. Is that what it's called now when you train people?
Food shots, and people already know they're, oh crap, let's go, and then they run out. So.
So what is your? Because you have now a decade of success, right? You've actually crossed that threshold that most businesses don't even get past. They usually say most businesses can't make it past the 10-year mark.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's like 80% don't even make it past the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Was that right?
Yeah.
So you've passed the threshold. So this question actually will be perfect for you. What is your advice for business owners or entrepreneurs to be able to sustain longevity?
I think you have to keep up with the times. In our field, technology is changing every 6 months. Okay, styles are changing. What I, and I'm admitting this on camera, but what I did 10 years ago was, in my opinion, crap. It's not up to par, you know. And there's subtle things, but you have to keep changing. You have to keep evolving. You have to keep improving. Never stop learning. Never have the complacency attitude. Never have the good enough attitude. You know, I've got the shot. It's good enough. No, always. What I try and tell everyone here, and what I try to do myself, is always try and do better than you did last time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just talked about this last night.
Yeah, that's what we smiled at each other while you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were editing a video, and he was like, if you can take 2 seconds to just make it better, then just take the time. It's worth it.
Yeah, it is. You know, Sunday I was doing a wedding Sunday night, and we were outside by the venue, and I only had one light with me, and I was like, you know what, this would be better with a second light in the background. And even though it was like probably 50 yards away, but I said wait, and I ran there and I got it. You know, and just it was worth the effort, because then the results show. You know?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
right
And
now with
yeah.
the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to me, I'm not I mean, you might say it's being a perfectionist, but it's no. I want it. If it's there, why not do it? You know, to help it or improve it.
No,
you
I
know?
agree with you
Putting in the
100%.
effort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with
A
you.
little effort goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. Okay. So then, I actually resonate. I forgot to talk about it when you said it though. But when you said like it becomes a job, like that we related to that, because after last month, after the numbers with iHeartRadio went up, we post daily. So there's no podcast in the world does this.
Oh wow.
So even last week, we try to do pre-recorded segments so we can post every single day.
Sure.
But we missed a couple days last week that we didn't pre-record, so we had to actively get together again at night and post something. And I got the flu last week.
Uh-oh.
And still we had to push through because now we've been held to a standard.
Yeah, you
and
got
it's
it.
like,
Yeah.
dude, there's no days off, you know?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no days off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's important too, that we tell people that are like striving entrepreneurs too, is like, you're actually probably going to be working more as an entrepreneur, but it goes back to what Z said. You're probably gonna have a lot more fulfillment, a lot more happiness knowing you're doing it for yourself.
Absolutely.
Because doing it for ourselves, I feel like I can stay up till 5 a.m. without being pissed off.
Right.
You know, because I know it's for my own, and I'm. Go
And
ahead.
it's for your betterment for the future as well.
Exactly.
You'll reap the rewards, not corporate, you know,
Yes.
Exactly.
owners or whatever.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so.
Okay. So now I want to talk about a little bit about this. I know there's been a huge shift in photography and videography after like drones came out, right? So can you give me this? Because I know I know when like Nara got married, for
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
there was no drone stuff going on at that time. There might have been, but they didn't have it. Maybe
It
was
wasn't
just,
as commercial
yeah,
or commercially used, you know.
Yeah. So tell me about this transition. And now does everybody like want a drone?
Yeah, they do. But you have to have first of all, there's so many drones out there. And again, it's the same level as a camera, you know. I mean, the camera I use and a very basic camera, it's not the same. You know, there's quality, you know, in the product itself. For drones, you know, they've made it much harder now, because back when drones did come out, you could fly anywhere, you know. But then FAA came out with restrictions.
Oh, really?
and-
I didn't even know this.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
fly
you can't fly anywhere now. In fact, most places stop you. So now they have like a 3-mile range that you can't fly, and there are people out there, FAA inspectors or whatever, and they'll stop you. We've been stopped, you know, like 4 or 5 years ago. We were stopped several times. 3, 4 years ago, we were stopped. You have to have your license and all that, you know, and they'll confiscate your drone, and your card and everything, you know. And I mean, they're pretty nice about it.
Yeah.
If you're reasonable, but if you act
Yeah.
anything more than that, then they'll put their foot down and say, no, I'm taking this, and there's nothing you can do. They'll issue you a ticket and all that. But yeah, everyone does want a drone, but you know, a lot of times you're not like, this is a high ceiling. We could probably fly one here, but it does cause wind, you know, especially like at a dinner table if you have paper napkins or anything, and flowers. Everything moves, you know, so you can't fly them indoors. We like to fly them outdoors, of course, if there's an outdoor ceremony or something like that where you can not be a disturbance, you know.
How did you feel about it though when it kind of like started entering the scene? Were you like, this is not going to work, and then it ended up working?
Yeah.
In like the industry.
Yeah, it does work to an extent, but I mean it's
Adapting with the times,
yeah,
pretty much.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean if you know, but a lot of times people come and say, hey, I want drone coverage. Okay, when are you going to use it? You know, your wedding's in the house. I mean, we'll get a shot of the drone outside. You know, so I mean, there's no room. You know, and now drones even come with restrictions like the newer ones.
Yeah.
Like when you set it up on your phone, it'll say you cannot fly here.
Oh,
It,
really?
it won't even take off. It just
Oh,
won't
wow.
take off. The new ones won't let it. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But now there are hacks and stuff coming out that
Yeah,
they
I
can
would
do things.
imagine.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have a specific piece of advice for anybody wanting to start an entrepreneurial path in life on a mentality that they must keep? Like, how do you stay motivated daily, right? The one thing that I talked about when we first started the podcast was that the reason why a lot of people may have talent or a lot of like genius abilities, but they may not find success as being an entrepreneur is because when they're in corporate, you are forced to follow a schedule and
Right.
a routine.
Right.
And that's the reason that routine is there is to obviously get tasks done and accomplish goals.
Sure.
When you become an entrepreneur, especially in the beginning, like you said, or like kind of like we do, we work out of our homes, or you were working out of your home originally too. How hard is it to navigate your way mentally to be able to put down a schedule for yourself? And then like how important do you think it is too that it's a routine is at least required? Is a schedule required? Or are you like, no, I never even needed these things?
A little bit of both. In the beginning, it was scarce. Business wasn't as
Sure.
busy as we are now.
Right.
Now I have a schedule. You know, I do try and follow a schedule. You know, I have a set time for meetings. I have a set time for photo shoots, outdoors, and of course weekends are reserved for weddings and events. But I would say, hey, you know, my advice to anyone that's getting into business: never stop learning. Always try and evolve and improve yourself. You know, never be satisfied with what you had yesterday. Do better than what you did yesterday. Have faith, but most importantly, have faith in yourself. Because I feel if you do, if you believe in yourself, work hard. I mean, I know people always say work hard, but you gotta work hard.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are days I've worked morning and night. You know, 2 months in a row. But again, I don't mind doing it just like you because I know it's working towards my betterment, you know, and the company's betterment.
Yeah. How important are relationships and reputation when you have a business?
Very.
Why?
Well, in the world of social media, one bad review can bring the company down, you know. I think relationships with the people that you work with are most important because they must trust you, they must respect you, they must believe in you too. They must have the same belief, you know. And you know, we have a lot of people that come here from other companies that have worked, other big companies, and they'll want to join us. But for one reason, you know, first of all, treat everyone equally, like your own. I don't treat anyone here as a contractor or as an employee. I treat them as I would treat my brother, you know. Look out for them, talk to them, work with them, you know, whatever they need to get there. Because if they're not happy, they will show that when they go represent your company.
Exactly.
You know, and so my feeling is, hey, treat them well, treat them with respect. If they're happy, they'll do a better job.
And relationship.
Relationship,
that's what you were saying.
yeah. So relationship, and then with your employees, and then always have a good relationship with your client. You know, now there are some clients that are unreasonable.
Yeah.
There are clients, and especially the people I deal with. I deal with a lot of brides. Brides that are freaking out. You know, oh my God, my wedding's in 2 days. I don't know anything. I'm, you know, this isn't happening. You know, like, hey, okay, you know what? I always say the same thing to all the brides. You know, you've planned this wedding for 6 months, a year, some cases a week. You know, well, most of them are 6 months to a year. But I always tell them, hey, you've done all this planning. Now, the day of, appreciate the moment, because many of them are so caught up. Hey, there's only 3 flowers on that table. There's supposed to be 4. This color on this is supposed to be blue. It's off blue or whatever, you know? Like, who cares? No one even notices that.
Yeah.
Only you do, because you know that it's supposed to be 4 flowers on a table, not 3. But they forget to enjoy the moment. You know, the guy that they're marrying, or the bride that the groom is marrying. Don't worry about anything right now. Be happy, appreciate it, you know? Live in the moment, you know? Enjoy the wedding, you know? And then you know, all the other things, let other people handle it, you know?
Yeah.
You need to relax and enjoy yourself. And many of them are just like, oh my God. I had one bride 6, 7, 8 years ago, and you know, we always like to go above and beyond, and I sensed that this bride is going to be a problem, you know? Because you can always tell.
Yeah.
And the day of, she was upset from day one, from the get-go, and I was like, hey, you know, this is video, people are following you around. Be happier, look happier, you know? For pictures, you can always stop and smile and be like, hey, you know, whatever. But for video, it's nonstop. And then she was like, you know, upset at her family, at this, and, you know, cursing at them and things like that, and upset that there's 3 tulips instead of 4 tulips. That's what it was, actually. And I told her, I said, hey, relax and enjoy the moment, you know. But she just didn't follow through, and she was upset. And anyway, she ended up she split up with him like a month later. So yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Well, I think we're going to start wrapping up now. Why
Okay.
don't you tell anyone listening what your website is, where they can find you on social media?
Sure. Instagram, Aventography, Facebook.com/Aventography. Those are my best platforms.
Okay.
I have a website, Aventography.com as well. But Instagram and Facebook is where it's at right now.
And we'll link everything below, and even on the streaming services on your phones, we'll have it in the description as well too.
Okay.
Z, it was a pleasure meeting you again.
Like to see you.
Thank you so much for the value.
Yeah.
And thank you for tuning back into the #1 podcast in Houston. I go by the name of Ray. That's my co-host, Desanti. This is Z with Aventography, and we will see you again tomorrow.